Collaboration Conversations. I'm your co-host, Regina Partain Bergman. And again, my co-host, Pearl Cox, is unable to be with us right now. And so while she is absent, I've instituted something called guest co-hosts, and it has been so much fun. I'm sure that Pearl and I will continue having guest co-hosts when she returns. So my guest co-host today is Alice Dartnell. And Alice, I'm actually going to let you do the introducing of yourself. Okay, I'm going to let you tell all the good stuff. So tell us a little bit about who you are, who you serve, why it's important to you to serve them.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me as a co-host. Super, super excited to be here. So hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Alice, and I'm a life coach specializing in time management, but also energy management. So one of the things that I'm really passionate about is helping people create a life by design. So this is about living life on your terms. But I also advocate that time management isn't just about time. It's actually also about you. It's also about your energy. And it's not just about the clock. It's not just about being a workhorse and ticking through that to-do list, but it's also about living life to your values and things like that. And one of the ways to do that, to live healthy, to live a life by design and maximize your time, actually is through your energy as well. So that's what I'm passionate about. And that's kind of my purpose and why I'm here serving the clients that I do.
Awesome. And would you go ahead and introduce our guests, our panelists?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm really, really excited for my panel that I've been bringing with me today, because I think when we were discussing this, we were like, we are like the epitome of collaboration, because we have all collaborated with one another in a way. So yeah, we are really, really excited to be here. Now, so first of all, I'm going to introduce Kate. So me and Kate actually are in Valencia at the same time, and Kate and I actually connected through Instagram because of the lovely Amani in London put us in touch to do an Instagram live. So Kate, I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit more.
Thank you. Hi everyone. My name is Kate. I do have a BSc in sports coaching, fitness and rehabilitation. And based on that knowledge and experience, I actually do run an Instagram page specifically for women, helping them understanding, loving and nurturing their bodies. Other than that, I also run a podcast called All Things Women Share. So this is just a little bit to add to this Instagram platform. And here I speak to different health experts, and we chat about all things physical, mental, and emotional health that may affect or be interesting to women.
Awesome.
I love it. So, and the next person that I'm going to introduce is Amani. So Amani and I actually connected, I think maybe 3 years ago. It definitely was pre-COVID, because it was back in the day before we discovered Zoom, and we actually met face-to-face in person at a networking event in London, instantly connected. And since then, me and Amani have done countless collaborations, lives, sharing of expertise, helping one another's clients. But we also ran our own program called Health, Habits and Happiness, combining health and nutrition, which Amani specializes in, as well as mine of time management and energy management. So I'll let Amani in London introduce herself a little bit more.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Well, hi everyone. My name is Amani. I am a nutritional therapist and functional medicine practitioner, and I specialize in gut health. What does that mean? I basically help my clients get to the root causes of their chronic conditions so they can have more body confidence and peace of mind, right? So I primarily work one-to-one with clients. So I have international clients because I am myself from Belgium. So I love working with international clients, and I run a virtual clinic, and I help people with gut problems and chronic conditions, generally speaking. I also offer a variety of corporate wellness programs because I want to spread the word about gut health, and there's clearly a connection between what we eat and how we feel. So I actually want to talk about it a little bit more in the workplace. So yeah, this is me.
Yeah. Awesome.
And that brings me on to Shim, because I know Shim through Amani, and I actually met Shim for the first time through Amani's birthday lunch. And then Shim actually was in Valencia in September as well, at the same time as Amani. So I did tell you there was a lot of connections and collaborations. We are the epitome of that. So I have had the pleasure of meeting Shim quite a few times now in real life, which is like a right treat, isn't it? In post-COVID times. So Shim, over to you, my lovely, to introduce
Thank you
yourself.
so much. No, thank you so much for that intro. My name is Shim, and I run 2 companies. The first company I run is the Gut Intuition, so helping a lot of female entrepreneurs, business owners all over the world actually go from stress to more success with their health and in their business, because I'm a big believer in how you run your health shows up in how you run your business and vice versa. And ask me how I know that, because from running businesses over the last 10 years, I have hit burnout many times, and I can see the telltale signs. So it's really about helping them understand their bodies, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. And I also, one of the co-founders of Queens in Business Club, helping women in business, again, from all over the world, actually get more visibility and exposure in what they're actually doing. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. So yeah, over to you, Alice.
Fantastic.
And that brings me beautifully on to Tanya as well, because Tanya is also a co-founder of Queens in Business. See where we're going here with these collaborations. And I've recently had the pleasure of connecting with her online. So when I'm back in London, back in the UK and not in Spain, I look forward to connecting with you more on a face-to-face basis. But yeah, another co-founder of the Queens in Business Club. So over to you, lovely, for a bit more of an introduction to tell us all the amazing stuff you do.
Thank you so much, Alice, and love being in this situation here, first of all. Yeah, so my name is Tanya, and I'm a branding specialist, and I run what's known as the T&G Designs Group Limited. And underneath my branding agency, literally, I help a lot of small to medium business owners literally stand out from their competition so that they can start winning that new business effortlessly. Now, what does that even mean? Well, as I said, I'm a branding specialist, so I'm all things about branding, helping to make sure that business owners don't, but also quit believing that their logo is just their brand or their website is just their brand. It is a hell of a lot more than that. And I feel that it's my duty to make sure that they not only understand that, but understand how a brand can actually elevate within their businesses and equally elevate them as a being, as a person, or as an entity, to make sure that they can do what we're about to talk about, which is bring on better connections and equally take on better collaborations and start having better relationships with all those people that they're trying to reach out to. So their work becomes more meaningful once again to them, and to equally so that they can start falling back in love with what it is that they're doing and in a better kind of a way. So yeah. And
Awesome.
that is me.
There you have it. That is my lovely, lovely panel.
Well, may I just say I'm jealous of all the face-to-face interactions that you've had, because all the people that I am most closely connected with, we have never been in the same space. You know, I have folks in London, in Rugby, and here in the States, all over the States, that I've never met. And so I'm jealous that you gals actually get to spend time together.
You're just going to have to come to Valencia or London.
Yes.
Yeah, all there is to it.
Done.
We'll just have a party. I also love seeing the level of collaboration that has occurred amongst this group. That's awesome. And yeah. So, and Alice, I have to go back and say, you know, when you said you were passionate about it, you know, it doesn't show. That passion doesn't show. Not at all.
Need to put some more effort into it. My goodness.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, I want to do 2 things. One, my microphone has just told me it needs to be recharged, although I thought I just recharged it. So I'm going to switch headsets here. But I want us to, while I'm doing that, let's talk a little bit about, you know, how this collaboration amongst all of you, how this began, and what was the genesis of this?
Yeah, we were talking about this actually when we were having like a bit of a prelim catch up about this, and I think maybe we marked Amani as like the core of like how we all connected with one another and knew each other. And yeah, I think it was Amani was like the common connector, but I think that's how it started. But one of the things that we were discussing was like, actually, the beautiful thing about collaborations is about bringing other people into it. And I think we would all agree, wouldn't we, that typically business focuses on competition, whereas we are very much about collaboration.
Yeah.
And it's not about keeping your resources and your secrets to yourself, but it's about sharing those connections. So I connected with Amani, but Amani put me in touch with Kate. Then I met Shim, and I've introduced Shim to my client, who is now a guest speaker at her event. So it's about like, it might taken that one person, for example, Amani, to be like the seed, but actually we've then all kind of like brought each other together, or like, hey, let me introduce you to so-and-so, or we can share this expertise, we can collab on this live or something like that. And I think that's something really important to remember in collaboration in business, that it's not about competition. It's not about, if I share my resources, there's not enough to go around. It's abundant. We can all share our resources and help one another and bring each other into it as well, and bring those connections together.
Yeah. So if I may add something to it, because
Please.
yeah, I guess I am somehow the common denominator here. I am a professional. I am a professional stalker.
So much for that.
Exactly. So basically, like before becoming a nutritional therapist, I worked for this amazing company called LinkedIn, right? For about 5 years. And I was helping clients, get the best talent, right? And source the best talent using the platform. So I was spending a lot of time on LinkedIn, obviously, right? And one day I saw a post from the lovely Shim, right? And it was related to gut health, which is something that I was already interested in, even though I was still working in corporate. I actually had left my corporate job and I just started my own business. And I saw Shim post something and I was just like, this is interesting. And I saw a couple of other posts as well. And I was just like, do you know what? I'm just going to reach out. And this is literally how it started. One of the things that one of my business coaches told me was to value every conversation, because you never know. And in my experience, having a conversation with someone is always going to lead to something. It could be a friendship. It could be a collaboration. It could be what I call clarity or redirection, because you're not going to get along with everyone. So basically from there, I was like, okay, so Shim is definitely someone that I want to work with. And then I connected with Alice. I went to an event and I was just like, yes, we definitely need to hang out. We need to work together. And this is basically how it started. But what I learned from my time at LinkedIn is that relationships matter. That's actually one of their values. And it's very, very true.
Yeah.
So true. So
Big
true.
time.
Yeah. And what a great way that you started that relationship, with that reaching out to her, finding out more about her first, and through stalking her.
Positive stalking. I don't know if
Positive stalking.
She's still here, so.
I mean, I've experienced positive stalking, but to be fair, we connected, and then obviously the pandemic hit, but we kept. We stayed connected. We were talking. We were catching up on Zoom. We did bits and pieces, but it wasn't until a year later that we actually properly started working with each other for clients. So when people talk about collaborations, you've got to be in it for the long haul. Yeah. And not just for like, if I'm not going to make money out of this collaboration, I'm not interested. Yeah. That to me is not collaboration. Collaboration is nurturing that professional relationship. It's nurturing that connection, because you give a damn, you give a shit about it. And it's not about you, it's about the potentiality of the two forces joining together and actually bringing good to the rest of the world, or to a group of people that truly need your solutions. That's the way I look at collaborations. And I think most of the time collaborations don't work for people because of their mindset is so short-fused, and so short-sighted as well. It's just like, well, you know what, if I'm not going to make any pound signs or dollar signs with this, I'm not interested. I was like, well, maybe this isn't for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
because they're usually in it for one thing, I say usually, sometimes they're in it for one thing, and that's when it doesn't work, like you were saying before. And I think that's where, I know we spoke about this before when we have our little catch up the other day, the idea of doing your due diligence, the idea of who it is that I'm actually speaking to. Why am I speaking to them in the first place? Do I actually know what they do? Because, I've spoken about an experience where I've met up with the client in terms of like talking about what they're looking for and so forth. But they were like straight in, this is what I do. And I understand this is what you do. So maybe we can collaborate on something. Really, they were after doing a JV so they wouldn't have to pay. That's what they were after. And I could obviously you see straight through those things, but at the same time, I said to him, I'm pretty sure you're a cool person. However, I need to work with you for a longer period of time to be able to collaborate with you on anything. So, and they're appreciative of that. But some people get offended by you just saying, no, I don't know you like that, And we talk about this idea of getting married on the first date, right? Some cultures maybe. However, it's what we're about, There's nothing wrong with that. However, not in what we're about. And I think it's super key and important to have that level of due diligence for one, and to understand what are your objectives in the first place. Who am I talking to? Why am I talking to them? And equally the same for them. Allow that person to respond how they need to respond as well, and don't be offended by it. And if a collaboration is supposed to be had, then it will be had, or it may not be for a right now moment, but it could be for a later on down the line moment. But
and I like what you said there, because I feel like a lot of the times when people get a not yet from someone, they take it as a no, and you don't have to take it as a no. Not yet is not like, oh my god, it's never happening. You have to be patient. Because for example, when me and Shim and Amani recorded the first podcast episode, I only met Shim like early September, and we only recorded the episode like towards the end of September. So it took a few weeks for us to get to know each other, see what we have in common, what would be like the best topic to chat about. So you have to be patient with yourself.
I mean, we went on hikes together, we did cycling, we hung out on the beach. And I'm like, yeah, this is how you do. We ate cake.
Collaboration on the mountain. Goodness up the mountain as we climb and hike.
And lots of dinners and lunches together. But what I'm saying is that we did all those things in a different environment, but it allowed us to get to know each other's passions, or things that pissed us off, passionately, and in the end you start to find some commonalities with each other. You're like, do you know what, I totally get that, I totally where you're coming from, or I disagree, but I totally I can see where this could be going, and it's appreciating that and respecting that. And I've been in many conversations with people that I've literally met or I've started to get to know, and you say one thing and it triggers them completely. Like, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. I was like, I'm just going to step away and walk out the door and leave you to throw your toys at the pram, because
Quick question for you, ladies. Quick question. So this is how it's worked for you, because you've all been able to get present with each other. You've seen each other and you've built that relationship, the things that you were talking about, Shim, the different activities that you've done. Yeah. What counsel do you have for folks who, like me, are doing everything virtually and may never meet that person? How do those people get to know each other? You've done some wonderful things of interacting and doing social events and all of that. What recommendations do you have for people who are only meeting these collaborative partners online?
I think it's definitely doable. I personally am. I call myself a digital nomad at the moment, but I definitely am a blend. So I left England in March. That's like 7 months ago. So I've been in Valencia about 7 months, but I've also gone back to the UK quite a lot. I'm about to go to Cambodia and Southeast Asia for about a month and a bit. And then I'm going to South America for 2.5 months. So I also totally get where you're coming from, that actually I'm not going to be able to do my face-to-face stuff. But for me, I think Shim just touched on this as well, it's like business and life are actually the same. So the fact that Kate and Shim played volleyball and went for hikes together before they recorded the podcast, that is going to give them that level of understanding and interaction, because our life is our business and our business is our life. And if you can't do that physically, face to face, you can still do that online. Still take that common interest of what's going on in your life, not just in your business. Maybe it's like you see something on Instagram that they've posted about their kids, and you can just give it a like and a little bit of love. So I think it's really important when we're thinking about collaboration. It is, for me, it goes beyond the remit of just business transactional. It's also about that friendship. And the fact that, we're having a laugh together. Business doesn't have to be like serious and suited and booted. And, it's about having that interest, genuine interest. And I think this is what the ladies are also touching on, not just going in there and being like, what can I get out of you?
Exactly.
Money. Okay, right. Whereas actually, when I met Amani, for example, I liked the vibes, and we exchanged business cards and Instagrams, and it wasn't like on the back of my head I'm like, how do I monetize Amani? Like it's
it happened eventually, but
I didn't know where I was going to go. I just thought like I could have a cool friend, me and Amani collaborated, as I said, on the health, habits, and happiness. And poor Amani as well, we would have regular catch-ups, obviously, about the program. But at the same time, my husband had just walked out on me unexpectedly. So obviously, every call, Amani wasn't just like, so, okay, for week 4, what we... she's there being like, how you doing, girl? And sometimes I'd need a little cry for 5 minutes before we went into business. And for me, that's the power of collaboration as well.
And supportive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And okay, it can be a little bit harder if it's not face to face, but me and Amani worked together during lockdown. So even though we were up the road together, we couldn't see each other. So I think don't let physical boundaries put you off. If you're in the US and you've got contacts in the UK, you can still build up these wonderful collaborations and conversations and potentials and stuff like that. Just be genuinely interested.
I completely agree.
I think you're right. And I think if 2020 is taught us anything, it's taught us that part. You don't have to be physically with somebody to build a connection or build a relationship with them. Yeah. You can do it virtually. Obviously, we've got online dating. There's all these Zoom sessions that everybody can now have, relationships can be built that way. And it's that key word, relationship building. And that's what you need in order for there to be good connection and for there to be good collaboration and equal communication,
And I take it with Tan, like Tan and I are business partners. So it actually took the collaboration for us to become friends. Because we were in the same community, but I didn't actually know you. I knew you in your grant, and I was working with her mentor at the time in terms of with his workshops and so on, and didn't really know you until Chloe, another business partner of ours, brought us all together, and we all actually met everyone for the first time on Zoom about this idea, Queens in Business, and then 18 months, 19 months down the line, here we are. Like we've got an amazing business, and we've actually become incredible friends as a result of it. So it wasn't that we were friends before and then we collaborated. We actually collaborated not knowing each other, but then out of the collaboration and just the journeys of entrepreneurship that we've gone through in the last 18, 19 months, and it has been a bit of a roller coaster. That's like how the friendship actually grew from that, not just the business relationship. But in terms of traveling, for me as an entrepreneur, traveling is a must. Like I have this curiosity mind that I just don't know who I'm going to meet. I don't know what kind of conversations I'm going to have, whether it's on a rooftop with a couple of beers, I don't know. Anything is possible. Anything is possible, you see, and conversation costs nothing at the end of the day. So
And back to what you were, so basically, Regina, you were asking, like, if you're not physically in the same country, like, what else can you do? Something that's worked really, really well for me. So you know these walk and talk meetings, right? So basically, like, what I used to do with a friend, she lives in Switzerland and we were not in the same country, but every week we would go on what we call a manifestation walk. So basically we were WhatsApping, right? And just talking. And when you're walking, so manifestation walk in the sense that we were talking about, and we continue doing it actually, we talk about what we want to manifest, all the things that are happening to us, what are the things that are triggering us and why, and we just coach each other, and it's amazing.
Cool.
And it's different than on Zoom. We're kind of expecting you're expected to talk about business, not necessarily, but in most cases. But when you're walking, you're a little bit more creative. You're thinking about different things. And I find it absolutely amazing. It's a must for me. So I highly recommend doing it instead of only like doing Zooms if you can. So
Right.
that's the way, yeah.
I love it. What a great idea. What a great
Cool.
idea. So frequently, and tell me if this happens for you as well, but frequently I will meet someone and it's just, online, but the connection is, the draw to them is just so strong. That connection is just so strong. And you've just met them and it's like, I know we're going to do something together at some point. I have no idea what it is or anything about it, but I remain open to that possibility because their energy and my energy are just so aligned. Do you ladies have those experiences?
Yeah, definitely.
So when I actually met Shim and knew that I was going to be business partners with Shim, we didn't know that we were going to be in business partners together until a Zoom meeting happened. And that's when we knew and found out who was going to be involved in this project. So Chloe was our sort of common denominator, and she approached each and every one of us individually. But we didn't know who was involved. And literally the minute we put our videos on, we're like, okay, this is really good.
Love it.
And like Shim said, we'd never really spoken, as on friendly terms or anything like that. It was, oh, you're right, Shim, and it was done. Do you know what I mean? Our exchange was done. And it wasn't until we started working together that I can, we can take the piss out of each other. We can have fun, and we can get down to business and talk about what it is that we need to talk about. But yeah, it wasn't until that moment I was just thinking about that. I was like, wait, no,
I love that.
I love it. Surprise.
Yeah, exactly. It was a surprise. But then when we actually did get to physically meet a few weeks later, probably even like a few months later, then we got to hear each other talk and share each other's ideas. And I don't know about you, Shim, I was like, okay, this is going to be really good. And everybody had their own characters, and it was absolutely funny. Yeah. But it was just so weird, like we never experienced that from each other beforehand. But yeah, it's just weird, but it's good at the same time.
It's really weird because there's five of us as five people that actually run this business. And one of the common questions I get when I'm out networking or people that know us, they're like, okay, so who annoys who? And I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, who pisses who off? And I'm like, no one. We all get along. Like, what's wrong with you? And I think people just expect when a collaboration of this size, people just expect, the more negative things. And I'm like, it doesn't have to always be like that. It's very positive because we all are aligned in such a deep way that we all have our individual intricacies and personalities and our way of doing things and our own leadership style, but actually we've all got one thing in common. We're all aligned to the same mission and vision, and I think that's the biggest thing, what makes a collaboration really fruitful and grow to something bigger than you, is because you both organizations have the same mission and vision in mind. When it's not one and the other and two people are not on the same page, that's when it kind of just goes in a different direction. It's almost like a bad breakup, and I've seen that with many organizations where it's like two parents have split. What do you do with the kids? And it's like no one's talking and the collaboration's just gone to pieces. So I would say that's the magic, really, that really glues a collaboration together.
What's that do for your energy, Shim, when you're in that really good collaborative venture? What's your energy like?
Oh my God. I would say I'm really playful. It's just more of that playfulness comes out because
that's a great word. I love that.
It is. I love that too.
Really playful, and we have fun doing what we're doing, even in the most challenging times. And we've had a really growth, expansive year this year, but it has come with its challenges. Because it's the five of us, doesn't feel lonely. Collaboration is one of those beautiful things, is that if you're an entrepreneur and you're in a collaboration, it's like, actually, do you know what? I'm actually pleased that we're going through this because we're doing it together. And we can call on each other. If one person is not doing so great, we're there. We're supportive of each other, but bring the playfulness in, because business, it has its challenges, but have a laugh doing it. Absolutely enjoy it, have a little giggle. And when I'm in that energy with the other ladies, like, it's just incredible. It's just, we just won't stop laughing, and it's just, and we end up getting more work done, like the most important stuff that we need to get done. So yeah,
I love that. Like, collaboration in business can be fun. It doesn't have to be like serious. And obviously we all take our businesses seriously, and what we do, we show up 150% with passion or whatever, but that doesn't mean that you have to be boring about it. Like, I love that.
No, it doesn't have to be like that at all. So I think when you're in the energy of, you're bouncing off each other, everyone's vibing in the same way, just let your personality shine through. It's just you, just naturally you, being you. And that is, I think that's the most beautiful thing you can ever achieve in running a business or a collaboration with anybody.
I agree, and it's so energizing. Those are the times I go find my husband when I get off the call and say, "Have I ever told you I love what I do?"
Oh,
never heard that.
Love it. Yes, dear, 1,000 times.
Well, I think as well, Shim, I'm just going to pick up on something that you just said. And I think there's an element of not seeing this enough in business anyway, but with a collaboration to really be successful is also to show a bit of vulnerability. So I love the fact that people say to you, who pisses who off, and you're like, no one does. And that's probably because I don't know, obviously, behind the scenes of the business, the Queen's business, but I can imagine you guys all being very, very open with one another. And if you're having a bad day, for example, like when me and Imani were collaborating on the program, and I was like, I feel crap today. I'm sad today. I'm crying today. I didn't feel embarrassed by that. That's just a part of life. And it just show that level of vulnerability, I think, helps have a good collaboration, because then, number one, you get to know each other and the real you, and you're not putting on some kind of fake facade. But also, then you can, when you understand where someone's coming from, you can modify, you can meet in the middle, you can tailor. So, for example, let's say me and Shim were collaborating on something, and Shim came to me and said, "Oh, this just happened. I'm in such a bad mood today." You'd be like, "Okay, right, well, maybe today might not be the day to give critical feedback, or today might not be the day to whatever, because I know she's feeling a bit sensitive." And you can sense about stuff then, so there's no need for
you direct things.
And how you feel.
And I've learned as well, like, because honestly, like, I used to be the biggest people pleaser. I've been working on it for a while, but I used to be the biggest people pleaser. So I was just like, when I started my business, I was working 24/7, because for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to get validation from my clients, right? And it was probably the same with other people that I was collaborating with. I was working extra hard. I mean, it's good. Obviously, we want to give 100%, to our business, but at the same time, we also, need to have a work-life balance, right? But the thing is, when I really started showing up as I am, the good days, the bad days, and everything, I actually started doing it as well with my clients. So it happened a couple of times that I rescheduled some sessions because I wasn't 100% myself. And actually, my clients started respecting me even more, because somehow, indirectly, I gave them the permission to be 100% themselves. And I 100 billion% believe in authenticity now. So, I mean, if I feel like shit, I'm going to say it as it is. If I need to reschedule, I will. But obviously, because I've learned so much from Alice, I know how to manage my energy. So it doesn't happen all the time.
I think it's important, though. I think sharing And showing to a certain extent your vulnerability is super important, because it allows and equally reminds your audience, or anybody who's receiving your message, to understand that you're still a human being.
Yeah.
And to understand that you're still going through life yourself. And guess what? It's okay to show that, and it's okay to feel what you're feeling and express that. And again, in a collaborative setting, if you're amongst people who naturally have your back or naturally want you to win, they're going to be there for you regardless of how you're feeling. Do you know what I mean? If you're in that downtime, and if you're in that moment of, do you know what, guys, I'm just going to take a couple of minutes, I just need to just be by myself, or go for a walk, or I'm just feeling like this that today, cool, do what you need to do. We are here, reach out, let's talk. And even if we ever get to those moments of we just don't want to talk, we're gonna not make, but we're going to forcefully encourage. Let's talk about, let's talk about it. Don't sit with that weight on your shoulder, because you're not going to be able to move forwards. And at the end of the day, if one of us are down, one of us are low, or anything like that, we need to make sure that we're all moving forwards together, because it's one, it's not going to work, but two, we want to make sure that person is okay. That's the first and foremost,
Yeah.
And I think that's important for any collaboration.
Me and Kate had a bit of a conversation on WhatsApp. So poor Kate, bless her. I was having some boy drama. Dating's new for me. I'm not used to it post divorce, and I was having some boy drama. And I'm not gonna lie, I was very, very drunk at 9 p.m. at night, crying on poor Kate's lap about this sort of guy. And then in the morning, I was so embarrassed with myself, and I was like, I'm so sorry. And she was like, it's a real conversation, you were pouring your heart out to me. And I was like, at least it was real. Like, I was telling you how I was scared and what I was feeling and confused. And, this post-divorce life is new for me, and I don't know what I'm doing. And that was so real, raw conversation, rather than just like, how was your weekend? Oh, I like your dress. Oh, did you watch that? Kate was like, no, I prefer a real conversation like that. And I was like, oh my God.
It does help a lot to be like more aligned with each other. Because if you just have like small talks, like you're not going to talk about your values, you're not going to talk about your passions, then how can you collaborate if you have no idea what you're doing?
Good point.
100% agree. I don't do surface level talk.
No.
And I think
I'm allergic.
pretty much knows that. I'm like, if you're going to ask me about the weather, just look outside the window. It's
But you know who you can have those conversations with versus the ones that you can't have those conversations with. You're naturally just going to get a blank wall. Do you know what I mean? When you're speaking to them, you're like, okay,
it's a filter.
So we are going to talk about this weather then, huh? Okay, so great, very cloudy.
And I think it's also like where you are, because British people here, like, it's just the culture of talking about how bad the weather is. There's a bug going around, everyone's got the cold or the flu. I need to get a cup of tea in me, all those sort of things. And it's just really surface level, and it has its humor, but at the same time, you don't really go anywhere.
No,
especially like in business, like if you're going to start off with a conversation, if you're networking virtually or face to face, and you start off with a conversation about, the weather, and I get people might be nervous. It's not a great start, and I've just
different.
Try something different. And I mean, for anyone that's listening to this now, like, especially like when you're networking on your own and you don't know the people in the room, just be you and just ask about them first rather than talking about the weather. And I get that nerves get the better of you, but ask me how I know that, because that's what I used to do, just to sort of soften my nerves and like talk about whatever. But you lose the connection at the very beginning, and you want it off with some great opening questions, and understanding about them first. Make it more about that person genuinely rather than about you or about the weather.
What you're talking.
Yeah. I remember my first. Oh God, sorry.
No, just saying it.
All right. So I remember my first networking event. It was a disaster. Oh my goodness. It was 4 or 5 years ago in London. I was new. I was just like, okay, so I'm starting this nutrition business. Who am I going to talk to? And well, the beauty of living in London is that there's loads of these events, like networking events, day in, day out, like nonstop. So I went to this event and I was genuinely nervous. But what I did actually, I'm still really proud of myself for doing it. I actually approached the person who was sitting next to me and I was just like, look, I'm very nervous. It's my first networking event. I'm not really sure how it works, but I just wanted to introduce myself. And I asked them a couple of questions. 2 years later, this person became my client.
I love it.
Exactly. You never know.
You
But I was
never
just
know.
being myself, vulnerable, a little bit nervous, but just 100% myself. And I think, that probably made the difference, you know? So
I think what you did there was just address the elephant in the room. I'm
Yeah.
put my hand up. I am nervous. I'm sorry. I'm about to, poop my pants, like
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But address the elephant in the room, and
Yeah,
stop.
exactly.
Don't be anything other than yourself. So yeah.
No,
It
yeah.
opens the
Put it
door.
out.
It opens the door for that
Yeah.
free exchange of conversation. It allows them to relax and you to relax when you're that upfront and authentic about it. Yeah, vulnerable. Vulnerability is a good thing. Yeah, awesome.
I agree.
I love. Oh, go ahead, Alice, please.
I've got a question for Shim. But so I'd like to take some co-host privileges. I've got some questions for Shim and Amani here. So Amani, you reached out to Shim originally, and this was just before lockdown. So we were obviously just about to go away from face to face, and obviously this is something that we touched on earlier. So my question to Amani is, what did your message say to her? And Shim, my question for you is, how did you feel when you received that cold message?
So if I remember correctly, it was actually almost like 9 p.m. I sent a message and I was just like, oh, I just saw your post. I absolutely love what you do. I think we should we should grab a drink, or maybe I don't know, let's schedule a call or something like that. But I think it was more like, let's meet up or something. But I like your post. How about we meet up? Something like that, if I remember everything.
And Shim, how did obviously this is a cold connection, a cold message.
Yeah.
She asked me out on a date. What?
I remember where I was. I was in my sister's kitchen, and I read the message, and it made me feel really good because she actually took the time to read my post.
Yeah.
I often get a lot of LinkedIn requests and posts. I had one in particular who said, "Really love your protein brand." I went, "I don't do a protein brand. You clearly haven't read my profile, so that's never going to go anywhere because that person is not really genuine about getting to know me as my business and me. Whereas Amani, it was such a great feeling because she actually took the time to read the post and then reach out to me. And I remember showing the message to my sister. I went, look, she wants to collaborate. She wants to collaborate. I don't know. And I love when I come at it from an angle of curiosity. I had no expectations. And then I think we did meet up in London, sort of in Islington area. And we just met up for a coffee. And it was just open, honest. There was so much alignment. We just had conversation after conversation. We were all
ayahuasca.
Yeah, ayahuasca, plant medicine, just about the NHS, gut health, the problems that are going on in the world right now, in terms of burnout and stress and all this sort of stuff. And so we had a huge amount of alignment, but it wasn't like we had the conversation to do business. It was a conversation to just sort of say, hi, my name's Amani. Hi, I'm Shim, and this is what we're...
It's curiosity, really.
Yeah.
Curiosity.
When I've always come from the energy of curiosity of having a conversation, whether it's someone that's a warm lead, a cold lead, or a hot lead, it actually brings beautiful things. Okay. It could be friendship, like we were talking at the very beginning. It could be a business idea. It could be maybe they put you in touch with someone else that they know, etc., etc. But if you come from a place of an energy of expectation, it's very short-lived, and then you'll end up getting frustrated, and then as like, well, that person, didn't do this or that. But you come from an open book and curiosity, it just opens up so many other different doors. It's just like amazing. So yeah.
And I also wanted to add on to this, because when I reached out to Shim, I was like, well, she's also a gut health expert. I never saw her as a competitor. Never. There's no competition whatsoever, because we're all so unique. So that's something that not that I teach anyone, but I've got a couple of friends from my nutrition school. They were like, how do you deal with like competition and everything? Because you collaborate with so many people. And I'm like, I personally do not see competition. We are all unique and we resonate with different people, right? So I am a gut health specialist. There's shit tons of gut health specialists in the world. Why would you want to work with me? Because it's me, because it's the way I practice, the way I explain certain things, my energy. And that's how I was like, yeah, Shim is not a gut health specialist. Happy days. Let's do something together, instead of, oh, I'm not going to share this with her because then blah, 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 blah. No, because then I might lose business or anything like that. No, not at all. So that's another thing as well.
Great
like when it comes to collaborations, there's absolutely no competition whatsoever.
I have brought numerous business coaches into my Facebook group to interview them inside of my Facebook group. You don't see it as competition, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's that difference in how we are unique in the marketplace that makes that difference. And
it's also like having that mindset of abundance, isn't it? Everybody working together, everybody growing together, even more so. And some people, they have a sense of abundance, but it means something different. So having abundance in the sense where we're all working together to get to that bigger picture, so we can, put out that message even further, have that further reach. And it kind of brings me on to, what we spoke about, the African proverb. Yes. That whole concept, that whole like, alone you'll go fast, but together you'll go far, which is super important. A lot of people are focused on the here and the now, which, okay, cool, to a certain extent, yes. But now start thinking beyond that, and now start going and branching out and reaching out and connecting with, and do genuine connections, by the way. And by the way, on that point of reaching out, especially on LinkedIn or any other platform, you get auto responses. Can we please stop doing the auto responses? The amount of like on LinkedIn, especially the messages. Oh, it seems like we have the same thing. So,
my God, horrible.
I really want to connect with you.
Oh, yes, we do. Thanks for connecting. Then I got it again and again and again. I was like, oh, I see what happened here. It's the auto response.
I think they abuse the word connected. Oh, I see we are connected with other people. Can I connect with you? I would love to connect with you. We got, and it's just like, just stop. Just
stop. And
no
what Amani did, and touch on a point of interest. Do you know what I mean? Actually, be personable to that person that you're connecting with, because it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference.
Exactly. I think it kind of goes back to like your question as well, Regina, when you were asking like, if you can't do it in person, how does that work in the online platform? And I think what Amani did, something that I do as well, is that you reach out based on something that you find valuable. Like she didn't just be like, oh, hey, shall we do something together? She was genuinely interested in her post. And that just like was such a good start of a conversation and now friendship.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Wonderful. Oh, ladies, we are out of time. I told you we wouldn't have to shut it off early. It's been such a pleasure to meet all of you and to listen to your stories. And it's inspiring to me to see how your collaborations have grown. And I hope it's inspiring to more of our listeners as well. So, what we want to do now is just give a few minutes to kind of wrap up and share your final thoughts about collaboration and how folks can get in touch with you. Alice, would you like to kind of guide us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to share a couple of final thoughts that one of the things that feels really strong for me in our conversation tonight is that energy of abundance, not competition, and like genuine curiosity and giving. Like that for me is like, it's been such a strong theme that's come through all of us. And I think that's, if anyone's listening to this conversation and they're nervous about collaboration for whatever reason, just remember that. Like, remember that actually that we're not in competition with each other. There's plenty to go around. We can help build each other's success up. So don't be scared of collaboration. On a note of like where to find me, I predominantly hang out on Instagram. So if anyone wants to come find me there, please come say hi. Drop that DM. Go on, be brave, do an Armani. Instagram, which is Alice_Dartnell. I'm also on LinkedIn as well, but not so much. And if anyone wants to come see what I do, have a little gander at my website. It's not the best website, I'm not going to lie, but have a little look at alicedartnell.com so you get a bit more of a feel for what I do and stuff. But yeah, Kate, I'd love to know what your final thoughts are.
Yeah, I definitely want to say something that I teach on my Instagram page as well, which again is my main platform. Even when it comes to like, loving your bodies, and whenever I teach women to be more accepting of their bodies, I always say be patient with yourself. And I feel like when it comes to collaborations, that's also very important. Like be patient with yourself and be patient with the other person as well.
Good advice. How do folks get in touch with you, Kate?
Yeah, so as I said, Instagram is my main platform at @Kate_Dover.
Awesome.
Stuff, amazing stuff. And Shim, final thoughts from you, lovely.
Final thoughts. I think collaboration does come into self-worth a lot. So when you don't really feel that you are worth it for whatever reason, you're generally not going to reach out to people, because you're going to end up having all sorts of conversations in your head of going, they're not going to take me seriously, or why would they want to speak to someone like me, etc., etc. So really, really, like, self-worth is self-care at the end of the day. So really sort of make that as a important reminder every day, because you are going to converse with people every day. And if you're struggling at the moment with just text DMs, try a voice note, because that actually really works. It does build on a lot of trust with sending a voice note. I'm a voice note gal. I hate texting that much, and I love doing a quick voice note. I can see Alice and Kate nodding. I was just like, yeah, I know Alice has a voice note too. So yeah. Exactly. So if you want to try something different in terms of connecting with somebody or a group, try a voice note. Just introduce yourself. So yeah, that's my final thoughts.
That's a good tip as well. And Shim, where can people find you?
Yes. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, so I kind of get around. But just drop me a message on LinkedIn and just say hello. Be human. Send me a voice note and say hello. I'll push you. Give you a little compliment. So, yeah.
Love that. Love it. And Amani, what's your final thoughts, my love?
Just because it's been my personal journey and my personal experience, I actually really want to focus on authenticity. Coming from an people pleaser, the day I decided to drop that and to become like authentic, whenever I want to cry, I cry. Whenever I want to smile, I smile. Honestly, it was a game changer. So even if you're not, whoever's listening, even if you're not like super comfortable approaching people, it's okay to say that. It's absolutely fine, because probably everyone else in that networking event is like super stressed. So just be yourself 100%, because you're also giving the permission to other people to be 100% themselves. How can people find me? So I'm on Instagram a lot. So it's at Amani_S_world, so Amani's World, or my website is amanikate.com.
I love that.
Fab. And Tanya, my lovely, what is your final thoughts?
Yeah, for all those who are wondering who to collaborate with, or maybe there's somebody that you think, it would be really be cool to work with them. 1, do your due diligence. 2, understand what your values are and have them be in alignment with who you're approaching and what this collaboration is about in the first place. And build a super cool relationship with them first as well. And I say first, it didn't actually happen with myself and Shim. However, the person who was the common denominator, we had a relationship there. So understand who you're working with first and foremost. And again, align with your values and use your values to help make you to help with those really cool decisions that you're about to make, as well as your gut as well. So yeah, so do that.
And when you hang out on your socials?
I'm like Shim. I am everywhere. Sorry, I've spread myself about, my loves. I really do. However, I am on Instagram mainly, as well as on LinkedIn as well. So if you go onto Instagram, it's at TNG Creates, also on Facebook. And then again on LinkedIn, you'll find me just Tanya Grant, the branding specialist, and you'll see me looking like this, you know. If you're on audio, I've got my head tilted to the side, just like giving you the look like, really, really. Okay. So yeah, also on YouTube as well. Just search for the TNG Designs Group Limited. So yeah.
Love it.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for having me as your co-host, and thank you so much for allowing me to bring my amazing panel on. Something that just popped into my head, actually. I don't know who's credited with saying this, but that famous saying that your network is your net worth, just comes to my mind. So yeah, I think it's something to remember.
This has been wonderful. I have enjoyed thoroughly listening to all of your wisdom and the interaction amongst you, and just your relationship, your respect for one another just shines. And that is a beautiful thing to watch. So thank you so much for being you, for being authentic, for sharing from your hearts and helping others to understand how they can grow their lives, the relationships, as well as their businesses through collaborations. So thank you, ladies. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. And we'll see you next time on Collaboration Conversations. Bye for now.